Hey, we overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins are all lost. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah, we overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins are all lost. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Overcoming Adversity podcast, where it's all about transformational growth and having a resilient mindset. I'm your host, Michael Allison. And today we have a real estate professional who has sold over $11 million in 1 year. He's also a private money lender and a real estate investor. He's also a true believer in God and believe that's where his true success came from. He grew up in a military household, but he struggled with being his authentic self and understanding his self-worth. But my guy has overcame all of these adversities that he has faced. Let's welcome to the show my good friend, Mr. Christopher Worth.
Yes, sir. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, Chris? How you doing, brother?
I'm always amazing, my G. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. Thank you so much for joining me here, man. We're just talking, bro. I'm just so happy for you, man, and all the success that you've been having, man. I just love the high that you're on, man. I just want to salute you for that, bro.
Nah, pleasure, bro. Thank you so much as well. And thank you for, just providing your backstory. So I can't wait to kind of dig in and, see how we can be of assistance or a blessing to the people in this particular setting.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up, man. Man, let's hop into it, man. Obviously you've been uber successful, man. And I know that you had to start from somewhere to get to where you're at, bro. So if you can tell us a little bit how you got to where you're at, man.
Yeah, man. So, it's very untraditional how I got into real estate. Just to be transparent, because I graduated from the school of Florida A&M University Business School. And so for a couple of years, I was working there and I would always sell something, right? I had cars for sale. I had just different things for sale. And so someone was like, well, have you ever considered getting into real estate? So I was like, well, why not? I'll try it, right? And so dragged my feet, procrastinated on that for a while. Eventually, took the test, failed the state exam. Here we go, failed the state exam 3 times. On the 4th time, I wrote they provided a board that you can do the math on. I was like, God, please just let me pass, right? and so when I take the board to the person, she was like, well, I guess God heard you this time. And that was my 4th time taking it, bro. So I wanted to just really mention that from the forefront, because a lot of people ask or they'll mention, hey, I failed the test. Do you think I'll be successful in real estate? Or I passed the test really quick. I know I'm going to be great in it. And neither of those factors will determine a person's success actually in real estate. It's not test taking. It's totally different. Yeah.
You know what? It's test taking is so crazy how people put so much stock into that. I was just watching the NFL draft over this weekend, and they were talking about the kid that didn't do so well on one of the tests that they take to go into the NFL draft. But the kid balled out his whole college career, his high school career. I didn't understand that.
It's a very common thing, bro. But after you get out of test taking, you get out of the school mentality, you get into the real world. You see that it is about working with everyone. It is about who has the cheat codes. It is a lot of collaboration. School is no, don't look at my paper. Don't ask me for answers. But the real world is totally different, right? You have to ask for different things in order to even have success. And that's how we even make it to a state of, well, how do you move $11 million in real estate in 1 year? Well, that's partnership, that's collaboration, that's a lot of creative thinking, that's really getting to it. That's a whole lot of prayer, because that's a lot of people who have we're solving an issue at that point in time, right? Whether it's a housing issue, whether it's an investment issue, whether it's, hey, I'm about to have this huge tax liability, I need to purchase something. It's a gamut of issues that we're solving, and you have to be able to solve them efficiently. And that is the challenge point, right?
Definitely. Man, I'm going to go deep into some of this real estate conversation because I have so much questions. You already see the questions I have for you, bro. I have a lot of questions to ask you,
man. Let's get it, bro. I'm open with it. Let's go.
Man, if you can, man, let's jump to the beginning of Chris's story, man. Where you from? Where you grew up? What was your childhood like, brother?
Yeah, not dope. So, originally from Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County, all right? But my father is or was in the military, I should say. And so my only travel experience as it pertains to the military was we ended up in Butzbach, Germany, all right? So I was in Germany for a while, came back to the States around 94, 95-ish, and basically ended up on, if anyone's from Jacksonville and they ever see this, we lived on Moncrief. And if you know anything about Moncrief and 45th area, then you already know it's the inner city for certain, right? And so started out there, ended up going to William M. Raines as a high school. Vikings is my alma mater, and ended up in Tallahassee, Florida, at Florida A&M University. And so I am a Rattler, and I bleed green and orange, right? So that's kind of like a really quick synopsis of where I came from. And right now I do business in Tallahassee, Florida, all the way down to Miami, Florida, all the way up to Atlanta, Georgia. I know that is a huge span, but I don't do it all on my own. I have a team.
Nice. What impact did your parents make into your life, man?
All right, and so my I'll start with actually my mother. My mother is very routine, right? She has a very set schedule, very hard working, don't call out from work, don't miss any days, that kind of women, right? And so
Right.
I take that same quality, whether I'm feeling amazing or not. I'll show up. You and I, we talk off the scenes, and we're just like, no, things have to happen at this point in time. I'm like, okay, great, I'll make it happen. And so that carried over, right? And of course, my father is military, and so there's going to be a higher level of discipline, right? Just in that dynamic, right? Order, clean, make your bed. Make sure all your the dots are dotted, the T's are crossed, like, just always observing things. And so that comes you add both of those, a routine, disciplined person to the mix, and you have a level like you're going to be successful at a thing because you're going to do the thing every single day. And so you can
Right.
ask my family, I literally do it every single day, and it's the routine and the discipline that causes that. But I don't know if everyone would want to do something every single day, right?
If you can, man, tell me how important discipline, routine, and habits has been for you as a business owner.
Yeah, and so just think about it. Like when we're getting into business, at least a lot of my counterparts, we're having a conversation. The thought process is, I'm going to get into business so that no one can tell me what to do, right? Or I'm going to get into business and I'm going to make this astronomical amount of money, right? It's the common theme. But if you look at any form of business, we'll just take just any business you can think of that's been around for a while. The service is the service. Typically, when you go, they have the high level of routine, they have the high level of discipline, and that is why they are around for a while. And so, to answer your question, it is that discipline and that routine that creates the actual grit that you need to be successful. Because let's face it, like, a lot of the business days are not that exciting. And so I think a lot of times people don't or have not considered, or maybe they have considered, that the success is actually in the mundane, the boring, and the painful. That is actually where it's at. And every now and again you'll experience a very high, like, high spike of emotion, but on the day to day, not so much. You're doing the same thing in repetition, and we're human. So we don't really like to do the same thing over and over. It gets super old, but
Right.
that's where the success actually is, right? That's why you're like podcast after podcast after podcast. Like, you have like that mechanism that is working for you regardless of how you feel.
Right. Absolutely, man. I think about when you said that because I obviously I served in the military and they like ingrained that into me, and it's so when you're in it and you're just going through it and doing it, like it became routine in regards to
Yeah.
being disciplined and sticking to a schedule and things like that. And I found, like, once I got out of the Marine Corps, that I had to create that for myself, as it was no longer there in regards to how they created structure and things like
Right.
that. So that's how important it was for me to just realize, like, oh, I see the benefits of what they were teaching us and instilling us while we're serving.
Yeah, no question. And if I may ask you, that may be like how you actually found a way to overcome different levels of adversity, right?
That's
Because
right.
it's like, yeah, it's like it's not you're not taking actions off of the feeling. You're taking actions off of this is the discipline, this is the routine, and that within itself will allow for you to just overcome repeatedly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Actually, man, I found that whenever I was facing adversity, I felt like, you know, deep within us, God has already given us all these things to overcome anything that we're facing. You just need to tap into it. And I think the Marine Corps bolster that in regards to like certifying us, like, yeah, you could get through this, you could get past this, regardless or no matter what it is.
Mm. Nah, that's massive though.
All right. So I wanted to ask you the $1 million question, bro.
Sure.
Tell us, how did you make $11 million, bro, in 1 year? I was fascinated by learning that about you. I was like, that's pretty phenomenal in regards to like a business owner. So can you share with us about that?
Yeah, and so it's 11 million, just so we're in transparency. I like for everything to be clean, right? So 11 million is 11 million in volume in terms of sale, right? So that's property. And it ended up being 47 properties, 11 million in volume.
Mhm.
And we won't get into the profit, but the profit margins are great as well. It's pretty cool. And so, but to answer your question, man, it was like, of course there's, high levels of prayer involved. And then, on our offline conversation, what we spoke about was you mentioned NLP, you mentioned getting into the mind. And so there is a higher level of self-development that and personal development that comes into even having the thought process and the capacity to even
Mm,
envision yourself to
mm,
create that. So like to answer that question, not so long-winded is, I sit down and God blessed me with actual vision, right? So I can see it before even doing it, right? And so when that came into space, it was just a matter of putting together the pieces and allowing for it to happen. So I know that's not like, oh, I had to kick, bite, scratch, do this, do that to actually make it happen. It more so was just the natural segue of doing, great by others, doing great business, right? Because I know like one of your questions is going to be like, how do you distinguish yourself from other people? And the reality of it is how do you do business that is so money driven mentally and take the money away from the equation and do the best by the people? Like, how do you get to that space is the real question, right? And that's how we were able to do 11 million. Because like, well, what's your issue? Okay, all right. Here are 3 to 4 solutions for that issue. Which one would you like to take? All right. And so then from there, we actually just make it happen by every and all means. We make that thing happen, and that's how myself and my team was able to actually get things going. We don't really do excuses, as you can tell. I called you earlier, like, hey, bro. You're like, no. I'm like, okay, bet, we're on it. Boom, and we're here. And that's how the model pretty much works. We're just like, whatever needs to be done, we get it done.
So I have a mentor, and me and her have been talking diligently in regards to the laws of deservability.
Mm,
And the laws of deservability is like what you said in regards to like you speaking into fruition, like what you believe you deserve, what you think you should have, and how you think to a higher level in regards to like knowing that you could actually achieve these things. So I think that's super dope, man. The next thing that I think that was important that you said was when it comes to money, people get funny around money and things like
sure.
that. And you spoke to having a high level of integrity around money with the people that you work with, and for people to trust you when it comes to this type of funding and money in regards to real estate ventures and so forth.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, bro. Like, you can't really do real estate. I mean, you could do real estate and be a shady character, but I don't know how long you would last
Right.
because no matter where you are located, the real estate world is actually pretty small. There's only so many people really in real time doing business. Now, there's a lot of people talking about doing things, but really doing things is actually not that big. And so, because that is the case, it makes it to where there is a higher level of accountability as well. And it's like, well, how do you not only do 11 million this year? How do you do 22 million the next year? How do you do 100 million the year after that? You have to have a higher level of integrity, and you can't. It's almost impossible to be focused on profit only. Like if whenever I'm speaking with someone and I can tell they just really just want the money, it just it's coming out of their spirit. Like you can just feel it. Like, man, okay, well, I already kind of know how this is about to go.
Right.
We still can get it going, but this is about to be a money run. It's going to
Right.
be a money grab, and it makes it not so exciting. Like, we all want to get paid for what we do, but I don't want to feel like, okay, yeah, bro, like we have to do all this and then we finally get paid, and now it's all this clawing.
Yeah.
I'm not that excited about that. I would prefer to work within the space of exchange, right? How do I create a win situation for you? How do you create a win situation for me? That way it can just flow and we can do business at a higher level. That's how, to me, that's how you get numbers going up. I'm going to continue to say, you allow for it to happen, not you have to make money. You have to make deals. You won't hear me say you have to make anything. You really just have to allow for things to happen or put things in place so that you can allow for it to come to you. And then, of course, you just handle your transactions from there. And that's how I was able to do it and not be like stressed. I am bald, but not because of that, right? And that's pretty much how that worked, bro.
Hey, man, we've been talking for going on 15 minutes, man. I could tell that you love what you do. How did you develop that passion for what you do, brother?
Yeah, the transparency of it is that, starting out, I didn't love what I did. Let's just put it on the table, right? Like, I didn't always love it. I initially got into it because I wanted to make money. Like, when you hear people getting into real estate sales or investing, and we're all wanting to be this tycoon or this crazy multi-millionaire, I got into it for that reason. But I quickly learned that, wanting to just like do it for money, it took all of the fun out of it. It took all of the joy out of it. It almost took the spirit out of doing the actual thing, the business itself. And bro, I just don't like it. All right. That's one of the fastest ways to just like turn me off from a business perspective is like, okay, well, how much money are we going to make? Okay, well, forget about everybody else. We just want to make sure we take the money. And so once I was able to overcome that from a spiritual aspect, then it became fun. How can I help my brother Michael get to his next space? How can I help him solve this issue that I know is plaguing his mind? Maybe he doesn't know about real estate in his heart, and I so happen to have the tools and resources to make it happen for him with ease. And that's the trick. I have found a way to make it happen for you with ease, to where you're not feeling the pressure, because my team, we're taking on the pressure, so you almost feel like this is too easy. Right. And so because we're able to do that and we're able to see like people happy, smiling. My friend and I took him out there. They're wanting to purchase a home. It's like 1.7 million, right? And so he has around 5 kids. And as soon as his girls, right, his baby girls walked into the home, they're just like, "Can we stay here? Like, we just love the home." And just to see, the smiles, the happiness, that's what makes it more exciting. The money's cool, but the excitement and the emotion is even better.
Absolutely, man. I love it. If you can, man, talk to me about being in the real estate space and a professional. And did you ever face any particular challenges while you was starting on your journey into the real estate business?
Oh yeah, bro, for certain. And so if you're starting, anyone who starts in real estate, right? Let's just put it on the table. I know we're like, oh yeah, we're going to make all this money. That is not how that typically works. This is just not the space for that, right? If some people are really good, right? So I want to put it out there. Some people, like, they hit the ground. There's multiple six figures, multiple seven figures first year, right? But on average, hey, Michael, do you know, like, on average, how many real estate transactions a realtor closes per year? On average, if you had to guess.
If I had to guess,
You had to guess, bro.
I'm gonna say 12 months out the year, so I'm gonna say at least one a month. 12? No.
Yeah, bro. Statistically proven. Statistically proven, bro. This is the average.
No.
No, this is the average. So when you're on Instagram and you're seeing people like, oh yeah, I'm hopping out the Lamborghini and I'm doing the $1 million home. Yes, okay, yeah, we have access to all of those things, but the average in terms of actual transactions and actually serving people is
Right.
zero.
Wow.
So people do not make money in real estate sales. That is not, if you want to make money in something, this probably is not the thing unless your attitude and your temperament is suited for it. If that's not the case, this is not it. A lot of people hop on the phone and they're just trying to get the money, and the person on the other end of the phone can hear it, and they're just like, no, I'm not doing it. Right. And even on average, when the National Association of Realtors did the statistics, the average realtor may make around $45,000 a year. And this is a gladiator sport. You are literally, body to body, contacting people and you do not know. I would say that you can do something far easier and make 45,000 if that's going to be the play, right? And that's why a lot of times you are talking, the realtor just isn't that excited. They're just like, bro, I do not want to talk to nobody because it was about money from the beginning, and then they're not getting the money that they expected. And hello, you end up not so excited unless you figure out a way to actually be good at what you do. And it's crazy that in order to be good at this, you have to almost put the money to the side. I know that's like crazy, but that's almost basic. Well, I would say that's predominantly how it has to be.
So I wanted you to tap in on what are some like character traits, personality traits, and skills that you should actually have or possess to be a real estate agent.
Yeah, no, great question. And so, of course, I'm going to give you the vanilla answer first off, right? Have integrity. Okay, like don't do harm to anyone. But other than integrity, right? Other than the things that you should already have, a code of ethics, a work ethic, the primary thing I'm going to say is going to actually be environment. I know that's not a personal skill, right? But you take a certain person and you place them in certain environments and it creates a different dynamic of that person. It's almost like when you are in a relationship with one person, you're different than when you're in a relationship with another person. You're the same person, but each person brings out a different aspect in you, if that makes sense. Okay, and so what I've noticed from a real estate space, when people are getting into real estate, I'll notice who they kind of gravitate towards, right? And if I was doing it all over, and actually how it was done, but it was done by mistake, I ended up with the owner of the franchise in Tallahassee, Florida. And then I was with her for 2 years. And that's how I learned, real estate. But listen to the environment. Every day we're in the office. Every day I'm listening to different phone calls, seeing how the back end is being ran with the admin staff, seeing how the closing coordinators, seeing how the other office is being ran. And so how do we get to a space of 11 million? I have all this in my brain when I'm running my own thing. I'm just looking at all the things that I had. But how can a person do that who has not ever been in that environment? Like, how could they create it? It's going to be complicated for them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like you can only use what you have put in you or what has been put into you. Right? So that's how I would answer that.
Did you ever face any like barriers in regards to like access to information, access to different levels, in regards to where you're trying to get to, either through people you dealt with, either maybe maybe your background or anything like that? Did any of those things ever, like barriers, ever like challenge you on your way to getting to where you're at, or what?
Yeah, no, great question. So this may help a few people irregardless of race, culture, and background, right? Because think about it, right? Inner city, there is a certain level of psychological thinking that happens in certain areas. So when I initially, entered into real estate, I was like, look at my actual ethnicity, right? There are not many people doing it. And so by default, this has to be a challenging thing or a hard thing to do, or maybe people of another ethnicity or race won't do business with me, right? And so the reality of it is that there was not ever a block on information. The information actually was 100%. Hey, Christopher, here is the information. Here, take it, take it, take it, take it. Do all you can do. Be as great as you can be. But my psychological lid would not allow for me to actually even hear the information or even to even think about allowing for it to come in to really do anything with it. And so I not now, and even in today's time, I hear that now, right? And that's not just a race thing, because I'm talking with all types of people every single day, and it's like, well, I am X, and so this group won't do business with me. Our people are like this, and so this won't happen. And the reality of it is that okay, this is capitalism. Capitalism does not really care so much about color, race, or anything like that.
Right.
Capitalism is a green color base, right? So I
Yeah.
just want to put it like that, right? So for anyone who comes back and listen to this, the real issue wasn't the business or someone trying to hold me back or other people back as much as it was the mind holding self back.
So, how did your faith play a role on your journey to where you're at now?
No, now this is a really good question because so I was doing real estate for a while, right? Semi-successful. I mean, the average agent does 0 deals. I was doing maybe like 12, right? So to your point, it's like one of my kind of thing. I mean, you're not living an amazing life. Like, let's just keep like it could be okay unless you're doing like $1 million homes each time. And I wasn't doing that, right? But so I make it to a space of, kind of almost running out of money, because on real estate, you're getting paid every 30, 45 days, and you can make it to day 30 and then the deal can cancel and then you don't get paid. That can happen. I mean, that's just, sales is business. That's just kind of how it goes. And so I meet this older gentleman. He was like, look, if you get your spiritual life in order, your natural life will automatically fall in place. Right. And so I was like, all right, I have nothing to lose, man. I've been trying everything, everything I could think of in my limited thought process, right?
Right.
I'm like, I have been trying everything. And so I was like, well, I'll try it. So, we began sending Bible verses back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Our relationship. He actually sends me Bible verses to this day. No, and this has been like 3-4 years now, right? And so we get to that place, and now I read my Bible every single morning. I do my, of course, prayer, all that good stuff. And he was actually right. I got my spiritual life in order, and my natural life automatically. I became the most successful after that practice in real time. That is when I started to actually be like, okay, 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 yeah. After that practice, bro,
It
that's the
works.
first time. Yeah.
So can you talk to our audience how important mindset is in regards to life and business?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, for sure. Because let's just go ahead and put it out there. I just by talking with so many people, the real thing that I'm always looking at is, well, how is this person viewing the world? Because based off how this person views the world, we know how to now communicate based off the world that they are seeing.
Right.
Right. So we would all like to think, like, I would like to think that you're viewing the world like how I'm viewing the world. And that would be a really big mistake. Right.
Right.
And so that is a mindset shift that no, you have to listen to a person, grab the context, what is their experience, and then you're able to assist them. All right. That is like the formula for just any form of relationship as it pertains to human beings. Like, well, why would Michael say that to me? Well, how is Michael viewing the world? And in his world, that is a very valid question.
Right.
Answer the question. It's
It-
very valid in his world. And so, but to your question, like, mindset is everything, because is there going to be adversity in business? 100%. Like, you you go rich, broke, rich, broke, rich, broke, rich, broke, have a bazillion deals to none, bazillion to none. So like these things are not. Let's just keep it a buck. They are not within no one's control. Like, I have kids, and sometimes they'll see people who are homeless, and they'll actually think that that person did something wrong. And I say, no, actually, any one of us on any given day can trade places with them like this, because you
Absolutely.
don't have to do anything wrong to get into that space. That
Right.
can just be what happens, just based off of factors that are not within your control. And that's the, like, for me, that's the importance of a mentality of just understanding that, hey, a lot of this stuff just isn't in your control. And wherever you find yourself at, create a vision to where you're going and just start going it. As long as you're making progress, that is what I have found to take myself out of levels of feeling a little bit depressed or feeling stressed. Progress is a very powerful medicine. You know what I'm saying? Figure out what you want to start and make progress on. It gives you a purpose, right? And a lot of times when I'm talking with people who have not crafted their own purpose, they in my experience, a lot of times they are, not as excited or happy about life. Not everyone, of course, right? But for those who I have seen who have crafted their purpose, know where they're going, even if it's wherever, they tend to be more excited because they're like, I know I wake up in the morning and I know I'm going to X.
Right.
Yeah.
Chris, bro, if you can, man, I hear your journey to what you've accomplished, what you've done, and some of the people that has impacted your life up to this particular point. I know that you shared about the vision. So, in regards to getting to your vision, can you talk about some of the struggles getting to your vision around like identifying your authentic self, identifying like your self-worth, and what was that like? What were you going through at that particular time to find where you're at now?
Yeah. And so, it's funny to me because I went broke a few times
Uh-huh.
by actually, I'm going to just use you because we're on the line, right?
Yeah.
But I needed to take actions that you would think are cool. So I would need to, travel to certain places. I would need to have certain clothes. I would need to drive certain cars. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so I would need to do all these things. But once you do these things, what you will come to find out is that you can do this as much as you like. And that is not going to make anyone actually either gravitate towards you. It's not going to make you any better. And you're going to have to keep it up. So
Yeah.
it's not possible to actually authentically do it unless it's really just your personality.
Right.
Right. And as I went through these different phases and spaces, and man, I need my brother Michael to really vibe with me. Whatever he got, I'm gonna spend money with him. Right. That's buying friendships. That's
Yeah.
doing these things. And that's to me like this just a level of progression to grow as a person. So now I know it's like, look, it goes back to what I was saying, bro. I can't try to control I can't try to control you as a person. I can't kind of try to control these factors on if I do a deal or not. That is a recipe for a high level of stress. And so at this state, you're like, well, bro, you seem happy. Like, yeah, because all these things on my shoulder, like, it's like, bro, I know I don't control a lot of these things. There's really nothing I can do outside of what I can do and outside of just, working to grow higher and higher. But that's just gonna be things I just can't do, bro. And so that made me happy to just realize like it's just things I just can't do. It's things I just can't control. But the things I can control is my own happiness, my own mentality, and my own perception of an event. So one person may have a flat tire and that throws their whole day. If I have a flat tire, I'm gonna say thank you God. I may have been about to get into an accident or cause something. You stopped me from something that I'm a everything works in my benefit kind of person now, right? And I was like the least economically, like not really having it when I felt things were working out against me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I love that whole segment that you just said, man. I love how you stepped into your true, authentic self. And what what's amazing is that it aligned with you, and God started aligning with you, bro,
Yeah, facts.
and getting to where you're at. So I want you to, if you can, man, on this particular topic or this piece here, man, share with our listeners some key takeaways from that experience that you could impart into their lives.
So I think the main thing, very funny, by just reading the Bible, like sometimes like, bro, they're like, hither come thee. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know whether to hither or come. Like, where are we going? Like, I'm not sure. Right. And so, and so but what I did come across was like, I think I want to say it was David's prayer, and David did not ask for like money, bro. Like he didn't ask for like gold and different things. He asked for like wisdom, understanding, and awareness or something like that. And once I prayed that, I was like, and this has so happened to be like the richest man almost, right, in the Bible, like one of them. I was like,
Solomon.
Solomon, if he prayed that prayer, then I was like, well, let me just try it, right? And so, like, I actually pray now for more wisdom, more understanding, and more awareness. And you know, the upside of it is you get wisdom, understanding, and awareness, and the downside of it is you get wisdom, understanding, and awareness. All
That's
right,
right.
so it's like you start to see what's actually going on, and that can be not exciting as well, just depending on where you are in life and whether or not you feel like life is working for you or against you. Like I had this friend girl, like she just really just showed up out of nowhere, bro. And we were sitting down, and I was thinking that I thought that the world was working in my benefit, right? I thought I was that kind of thinker until I sat down with her, and she was like, no, 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 the world, because if you watch the news, you will feel like people are trying to hold you down. If you go into the public, you'll feel like people are kind of trying to hold you down, and you ask that question. But she was like, no, 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 the world, right, is actually working to benefit you. And that was a massive change.
Yes.
That was a massive, because now I no longer have to go into the world and fight you, or fight this person who I feel don't look like me, or fight this person who we don't agree with. I don't have to do that anymore. I can already understand it. No, the world is working for me. So it's like, how do we create an exchange that feels natural, authentic, that works for both of us? And we can always do it. There's always something we can exchange and work on to make things work, right? But I have dealt with people who are in the fighter mentality, and it helped me see now how I was when I was fighting with the world. It's like, no, bro, you're fighting, but you're fighting yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you're the only one in this equation actually fighting. Everyone else is chilling. You know what I'm saying? Everyone else is chilling, man, bro. It happens, man. I literally was texting the guy the other day, like, no, bro, it's no fight. We're just trying to get everyone on the same page. If it's more than one human being, then there's going to have to be a place of, okay, we all are on this same page, or we just have to not do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm a part of this Christian group, and we meet every Monday morning, and we just talk. We just talk about business, and we talk about how we impart our faith into our business. So I was speaking this morning, and I was talking about like when I first got into business, I was motivated by money, by a lot of people. But I found that once I got into business, either I didn't really too much like it, or like I did really well and I got bored and I wanted to do something else. And I was motivated and I was in the business for the wrong reason. But one of the biggest takeaway that I learned from being in business prior to being in business now was I never made God my business partner. And that's when I said, anything
Oh,
that I do in business, God, me and God is going to be business partners.
that's
So,
big.
you know what I'm saying? And then, like he was mentioning, I was sharing with them this morning. I said, you know, we can't compete with other people and things like that. That's why I always hear people like, stay in your lane. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your lane is the lane that God gave you. And whenever, if you look at the beginning, God spoke things into existence, it just happened. It ain't that he made a plan or nothing like that. He said earth, light, moon, and it just happened. You know what I'm saying? So when I looked at it, I was like, he gave us the same power to create things and manifest things that we want in life, bro. And then I applied some of those things, and I looked at what you just mentioned, the book of Solomon, the book of Kings. And this guy became the wealthiest man in the Bible in regards to business, and he didn't ask for money. He just asked for wisdom, knowledge, discernment, and it all flowed to him. It all flowed to him, bro. So it speaks to what you're saying, though, man. So I'm in total 100 agreement and alignment with you on that, man.
Absolutely, bro. It's one of those things that's it's so like untraditional, so counterintuitive. It's like, why would I ask for wisdom? Why would I ask for understanding? But it's like when you're reading the Bible, it was like, above silver and gold, give all those things away, seek understanding, like by all means. And it's like, don't lean on your own understanding, right? So I'm like, man, that's kind of complicated when we're doing business. I need to kind of rely on my instincts. I need to rely on, but to your point, you're like, man, I made God my business partner. I had never thought about it that way. So I'm glad that we hopped on, because now I know that that's the next switch and the thing, because like, how do you really take on things that other people otherwise would be afraid of, right?
Right.
Like, cause you already know sometimes you're looking at a thing like, man, this is pretty massive. But I was talking with my fiance, she's like, you doing this, that, and the third. I'm like, but in my heart, it's almost like I don't feel that anxiety or that pressure. And it might be for the same reason you're saying. It's just like God, my partner. Like I pray for it. I see the vision of it. It's not like a thing that, you know what I'm saying, that's not that's out of alignment. But I do want to make one very important point too for the viewers of this. And it took me a while to learn this as well. It's like you don't have to do business and things that are out of alignment with you just for money or favor. Like that's not a requirement to actually be successful. I find that it's easier to be successful when you're in alignment with what you have going on.
That's right.
That's my opinion. That's my experience share. I would say, like, nah, like every time I'm trying to do, okay, this is $50,000 deal over here, but I have to, kind of circumvent my integrity just a little bit, and I have to do just a little bit, and then I'll get it. It's like, man, it becomes hard, bro. I'm like, man, I don't really know. Like, this is very complicated. And in that instance, I can see why people wouldn't want to do business, right? Like, even from the real estate space, is that even aligned, or should you really be an evangelist or something, right? Who knows what you should do? So, but only that person really knows.
So you had mentioned that you're a private money lender and a real estate investor. So I've heard about it in regards to like the real estate space and stuff like that. But could you explain to us like what that is and what does that entail?
Yeah, sure. Like, so, I mean, in real estate, bro, it's kind of interesting because just by default of wanting to assist people, right, or facilitate the exchange, what is money? Let's get to that first and foremost before I answer that question. What is money? Money is the measurement of the value of the exchange good, right? It's the measurement. Right. It's a unit of measurement of exchange value, right? And so if our business model is to exchange the highest amount of value possible, then by default, you're going to have money. But the private money side of it came because my clients were needing capital. Right. It was very simple. I'm like, okay, you want to buy this and you need this. All right. Well, where's the money, right? So I know a ton of people who have money. I myself have money. So I was like, well, how do we create situations to where you can get the asset you're looking for? The seller can sell. They have the money now, and we make money from lending money, right? And so in that aspect, I just pretty much put together the deal based off what I know. It's like, well, if you're going to right now loan money, would you loan money at 100%? Right? If the home is 100,000, would you loan 100,000 for it? I mean, probably not, because that is highly risky. That person gets the opportunity to walk away, and you have to keep it. Right. And so in my business model, I'm looking to loan money at the lowest, value in terms of like the equity. So if the home is $100,000, I may want to loan $20,000. So if anything happens, because this is business, if anything happens, then there's the opportunity to gain, right? And the benefit for the other person is that, hey, they're able to buy the asset and the other person is able to sell the asset. So it came about as a result of just working to create the exchange for my clients. Right. And then I'll do the same thing. Like, well, okay, they want 200,000. Well, I may not like the deal. So I'll call Michael. Michael may say, okay, yeah, I love the deal. I'll loan $200,000. I'll say, great. Well, now Michael's now loaning $225,000 because I'm connecting the dots. Right. So now everyone's making money, but everyone's getting what they want. So that's how that came about. And same thing as it pertains to just like the investing in property. If I am selling or I'm helping 47 people, purchase properties, then by default, I'm going to come across properties that are in distress, that type of thing, mobile homes and land and just different things. And so, just by default, it's like, well, hey, this is a great deal. It only makes sense to invest in these things. And so that's how I kind of, it just segued off of just being in the field 24/7, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I was up in actually Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago, and we was looking at a community. Me and a couple of friends was looking at a couple of properties that was in distress, man, and it was interesting to understand and learn this side of the business when you get into real estate. And I found it was so powerful, the power of partnership in regards to like investing in properties and the decisions you can make with each properties in regards to like long term or short term. And I also learned like all these different aspects and the benefits that the government will offer you in regards to some of these properties that were out there. Like for example, I've seen a house where if you was to purchase the house and let's say people are coming home for recovering addicts and things like that, you could like create these types of homes where the government would subside and pay for those houses and things like that. For you as a real estate investor, I never even thought about that until like that was shared with me as regards to me seeing that type of business that is out there right now.
Yeah, bro. Have you considered too? Kids who are, going through, and it's unfortunate, of course, but kids who are going through the foster system, not foster, but yeah, it's to a degree, it's like almost like the foster system, and now they are becoming adults, right? 17, 18, 19. A lot of times, the government provides money for them to receive housing as well.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. Like they literally receive like vouchers and different things because they're coming into society as well. Living a
Okay.
regular life, right? So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, that's something to look into as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that, man.
Yeah, bro.
So I wanted to hop into this part of the conversation. Um, I'm a veteran. Your dad was a veteran.
Love it.
So, can you tell me or educate us on some of the things that are out there that veterans should pay attention to, veterans should know when it comes to real estate and how they could get houses and things like that?
Oh, bro, you're the man for asking that question. Most of the transactions and help I provide is to veterans.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes, for
Oh,
sure. For
all
for
right.
for sure. Yeah. And so, I have crafted such a way to where a lot of times my veterans only need like $1,000 to $2,000 to close on a home.
Say what?
Yeah, bro, in real time.
So,
In real time right now, if I pull up my spreadsheet in real time.
so when I purchased a home, me and my wife, we had bought a house about 4 or 5 years ago,
Okay.
and I think something I forgot what the rule was, but like there was like a cap in regards to like what you could get for a house, but then it like expanded up to like over $1,000 or up to $1 million or something like that.
Right, right, right. I know exactly what
Right.
you're talking about.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about that to educate veterans about this thing?
The reality of it is that veterans really depending on their benefit though, right? Depends on their benefit. How much are they entitled to? They can
Hmm.
go really up to like 2 million.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And with a VA loan, that's like 100%. Well, not 100%. That's the big misnomer or misconception. But there is no down payment.
Hmm.
Now, you did. I'm going to step back. You asked a question that I think I'm going to just kind of put it out there, and there is no down payment. But depending on that, the veterans, I'll say disability, there may be a funding fee or there may not be a funding fee. And in my experience, the funding fee that is still having to be paid is around 3.5% of the loan. So that's almost like a down payment.
I see. I see. I see. I
You
see.
see what I'm saying?
I see what
And
you're saying.
yeah, 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 yeah. But what I have been able to do, at least lately, I have been, the veterans closing costs have been ranging around 4 to 4.5%. The government allows for 4% for like a VA loan for a seller of a VA for a person getting a VA loan. The seller can pay up to 4% towards that person's closing costs.
I see.
Right. I navigated a way to where we can get 4.5%. And that's how like my last closing, which was Friday, that person received a check back for $1,000 and some change.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times we're able to negotiate for either the seller to do it, for it to be financed. There's different ways that the veteran can hold as much money on hand as possible. And we also have a way to where, just depending on what's going on, interest rates for the most part right now are around 7%, but I do have some lenders who are doing 5.5,
Hmm.
and that is very massive as it pertains to payment. I want to say that may be like 300 something dollars in the payment difference. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money per se, but that's groceries, that's phone bills, that's utilities. And if you spread that over a 30-year span, if I can get you a 5.5 versus a 7%, I may have saved you, depending on the home price, hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest payments. And that's what no one really ever looks at. And it always breaks my heart when people aren't looking at the fact that 30 years from now, how much did you actually pay for this particular property? No one really ever looks at it, though. It's crazy to me.
True.
Yeah.
So for somebody that's looking to buy a house or a veteran that's looking to buy a house, what are some things that they should consider when they're going to make such a big investment?
Yeah, I mean, so it's very simple actually for the veteran because ultimately this is really anyone purchasing a home. Get the home inspected and choose your own inspector, or you can, of course, you can utilize your realtor contacts and utilize their inspector. But the main thing I would definitely say for the veteran is read over your inspection report and make sure that it is, if there's any things that are, a sticking point for you, that they are negotiated. Because for the most part, in the contract aspect of it, the veteran affairs don't play any games, and so they're going to make sure that from a paperwork perspective, they're going to make sure that the paperwork is in order. They're going to make sure the home is appraised. So in that aspect, it's just about, is the home any good for you? I actually had a veteran. I didn't know that it happened to, like, I don't know if it happened before or after, but bro, they ended up having like mice in their home. Yeah, they literally like had mice. And so, on the tail end, of course, we had the home inspected, different things, and this could happen for anyone's home. But did we miss something? Potentially, bro. Did the inspector miss something? Potentially. It could have been a number of factors. And so now I'm just very like, yeah, make sure you read over your reports and make sure you have your home inspected. We end up solving the mice issue, but it's still like, that's unfortunate. You're sitting down eating food and the mice come to, eat food with you. That's not that exciting, bro. We fixed it fast, but it wasn't even our thing to fix, because just on the real estate side, that's not our thing. But man, it's like, bro, that's you buy a home, you want to be happy in it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the various types of loans out there in regards to like micro loan, jumbo loans? What's the different types of loans?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, but to your point, like, there's FHA loans, 3.5%. There's conventional loans that go all the way down to 3%, right? And they tend to be less strict as it pertains to the condition of the property. You have your USDA loans, which are 100% finance. And, when we hear USDA, we're thinking usually of rural areas like farms and stuff like that. But that's actually not true. You can utilize the USDA property address eligibility lookup if you just Google that. And you can type in different addresses. Like, literally right now, you may be in a USDA area and then walk across the street and that property could not be in a USDA area. And that would be like the difference, right? It's just, no one really knows how the map is formulated. So you have to check each property based off of the search. And then you have, of course, your VA loan, which is 100% finance. And as we were mentioning, you can go up to 2 million, pardon me, just depending on your eligibility. And so then we also, to your point, have the jumbo loans. That's when you're going to $1 million, $1.4 million, $2 million, that kind of thing. And typically they want you to put down like 20%. But I have a lender who would do 10%. And for my self-employed people, there are bank statement loans. And basically, they'll take your bank statements for the last 24 months and they will, basically do a loan off of that. And you are going to pay a higher interest rate because the lender feels like they are taking on a more of a risk and you're not going through the banking system. So they're going to tax you a little bit.
Got you.
Yeah, man.
So for the person that's listening that don't have good credit, can you talk about the importance of credit when it looks to purchasing a home?
Sure. Oh, but I want to make a point. So
Go
I
ahead.
have a lender who can go down to, I want to say it's a 520 if you're a veteran. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So if you're a veteran, they can go down to a 520, and bro, that's massive. Typically, the lender wants you to be around a 620 credit score,
Right.
and ideally a 640 credit score. We can get you down payment assistance and different money from the government. So to go down to a 520 with no down payment is massive. And then knowing what I know, I can still get that person to only have to bring $1,000 to $2,000 to the table. That's big, bro.
Hey,
That's massive. Yeah.
that is massive.
And I almost didn't mention that I have a lender who can get a person into or people into HUD owned homes for just $100 down. Now it's in real time. So when you're asking like, well, how did we come up with 11 million? Like, bro, like an octopus, bro. Like, where can we actually make these things happen for our people? And we're like there. If we need private money, there. If we need these programs $100 down, there. 520 credit score, there. You have, not optimal credit. Let me see your credit report. Well, is your name spelled wrong? Because these things, affect a person's credit, right?
That's
So we're
right.
like,
That's right.
yeah. So we have those conversations like, bro, like before you go and spend $1,000, $2,000 on credit repair, is your address correct? Is your name correct? Did you really live at 123 Main Street? Like,
Right.
if no, then it's going to take a few phone calls and back and forth. But if you get that off your credit will boost. And a lot of times too, if a person is renting and they have good rental history, I'll have them go on to Rent Reporters. That's a plug. They, I should get a referral or something, right? But nonetheless, Rent Reporters will take the person's rental history for they'll go back 2 years and they'll place it on that person's credit report as a trade line. And so typically the credit will go up by 35 to 50 points within 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I work to like have them utilize sources that are not so like cost intensive
Mm-hmm.
to see can they just get it going from there. And very important to know, a lot of lenders actually do credit repair.
I've been finding that out lately, man. A lot of
Yeah.
them been doing that, man.
Yeah, a lot of lenders do credit repair, but I get it. Like people are like, no, I want to speak with the credit repair professional and hope that they get it fixed, and then I'll finally speak with the lender. I'm like, bro, you're probably better off speaking with the lender. They'll just like tell you what you need. They'll fix it themselves. They have a vested interest. They don't get paid until it gets done.
That's
So
right. That's
yeah,
right.
so they're working at a different pace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you can, man, we've been looking lately in regards to venturing out into different things, man. So can you talk to our listeners about buying land? And in addition to that, talk about for business owners, if they were looking to buy commercial property, um, what does that look like if they was to work with you?
Yeah, and so now to your point on the land, as I actually have some land for sale right now, 8 acres, right? And so land is a little less traditional than what we tend to speak about, especially
Okay.
if it's like you're going to go get a loan for it. If you're not getting a loan for it, you're just paying cash, then it's like buying the bread.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? Outside of, like when you no, I'm actually it's not like buying bread. It's a little more complicated than buying bread. So you actually want to, contact the city a lot of times because this is going to be a twofold question. Commercial property and land kind of go hand in hand in the aspect of what is your plan? Because land, if you're planning to build, it may be like in my particular situation, the 8 acres. You can't divide that 8 acres. You have to build a home on 8 acres.
Mm,
So
okay.
a lot of times people like they'll contact, oh, I want to buy this land and I'm going to subdivide it, and all of my relatives are going to live on the land, and it's like not exactly, because the government has dictated that you're not subdividing, and if you are, you can just turn it into two parcels, and you can only build one home per parcel. So that is very important as it pertains to land, along with soil tests and along with title searches. Do not ever buy property. I mean, some people don't they don't do inspections. Sure, right? You might buy land for $5,000, $2,000, right? You're like, I'm not inspecting this land. That makes sense. But don't buy land without title insurance or having the title run, because you may purchase that land for $2,000 that has a lien for $100,000 on it, and now voila, you just got the gift that kept on giving.
Mm.
Yeah, that's very important as it pertains to land. And then once again, same thing with commercial for our business owners. It depends on if you are actually purchasing the building. Man, you have inspections. You have way more due diligence to take on from a commercial space. The ethics level is a little bit different. And the math is different as well. So like, it just really depends on what a person wants to do, but it all kind of goes back to doing homework. And that's why I say, hey, it's not quite like purchasing bread. You kind of know what you get when you're buying bread. With land, you're not quite sure. And with land, they being the lender, they tend to want a person to put down 15 to 20, 25%. Whereas with a regular home, you're able to get away with 100% finance.
Gotcha.
Very massive difference. Yeah.
I've seen two things I've seen in the news lately. So a high increase in regards to like foreclosure, and then I've seen like sometimes where like the courts is owning houses and things like that. So I wanted you to just to talk about, man, the foreclosure process, and then also the process in regards to whenever either a bank picks up the house or the court system picks up the house, where anyone can go and buy that house and resell that house.
Yep. Hey, bro. So, man, the world has changed. I want to start with that. So, the crazy thing is like sometimes people would foreclose or go into auction and they're like, well, I'm going to bid on this property and I'm going to get it for a discount. And so they'll bid and then they may say 1, 2, 3 has bidded. And then they'll bid and says 1, 2, 3 has bidded. You're like, how does 1, 2, 3 know every time I bid?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're bidding against the bank. How crazy is that? The bank is bidding against you to run the numbers up.
Yeah.
Right. So, or even from a foreclosed perspective, because they're like, a lot of times, can you see me or hear me?
I got
So,
you.
all right, cool. So, a lot of times people are like, yeah, I want a foreclosed property. I'm going to get this awesome deal. And the bank's like, well, no, I'll actually take this foreclosed property. I'll fix it up and I'll sell it on the open market because there's such a lack of inventory. And so the foreclosures of 2008, the prices, the greatness of it, it is so slim, bro. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. And if you can find it, you need to buy it right now. You need to just go ahead and buy it cash. Like, don't delay, just buy it, right?
Wow.
So,
Okay.
but it's so like not really a thing like that. And even with, them saying that foreclosures are ramping up, it still has to go through the entire process. That can be a year. That can be 2 years before that home actually makes it to the market for sale. So the banks have a shadow market to where these are just properties that they're just on their books, but you can't get it. I can't get it. All right. Someone in that banking system has to allow for the general public to have access to it.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. I get the calls all the time. Well, call the bank. Hello, bank. We're interested in 123 Main Street. Oh, 123 Main Street is with the lawyer. Okay, what's the lawyer's number? We call the lawyer. Oh, it's not, the home isn't with us anymore. It's with the bank. You call the bank back. Well, the lawyer said the home's with you, and then the bank said, nah, it's with the lawyer. It's like, oh, I get what's going on.
Yeah. They playing games and put you in circles now,
bro. So, because think about it, if I'm a business owner and the bank is a business owner, that's why they have the biggest buildings in every city.
Yep.
Right? If I can get, triple, double for my foreclosure, why would I give it to you? For what? What purpose does that make? In 08, they had so many of them, it was just such a challenge, right? They're like, man, please take it. Now, that's not the case.
Right.
So a balanced market is 6 months of inventory. That means that, sellers are selling, buyers are buying. 6 months. It's balanced. Bro, we're at 1.5. It's a huge seller's market. So if you have anything for sale, it's basically going to sell.
Right.
And then if you add that Wall Street has allocated billions of dollars to buy property too, you're buying against them. And they have commonly deeper pockets. They'll pay $50,000, $100,000 above for a property, and it doesn't bother them. So this is the dynamics of the market, right? So this is when you're talking about a foreclosure, you're talking about competing against California, the buyers from California, the buyers from New York, the hedge funds from New York, the hedge funds from Atlanta, the hedge funds from California. Then your average person who just has a lot of money too, and A balanced market is 6 months, and our common market is like 1.5 months of inventory, maybe 2. So it's pretty stiff competition. And the common thing I would hear is, I'm going to purchase a home when the interest rates go down. When the interest rates go down, it's already stiff competition. Now you're going to have really stiff competition.
That's right.
It's going to be like you can't even cut it with a knife. You can't do it.
Speaking of interest rate, what impacts interest rate?
The Fed, man, that's the gov, bro. That's however they really want to do it. I can come up with a basket list of why they raise interest rates. We can say inflation, we can say deflation, we can say the GDP, but ultimately the Fed sets the rate for investments on how they want it to go. And if they want more people to invest into America, those interest rates are going up, brother. Or if they want foreign capital to invest into America, those interest rates are going up, brother. And if they want us, go ahead. You're about to say something.
Yeah, so I was asking you that because I seen Joe Biden. He said for people that have good credit scores, it's gonna impact your interest rate. So I just wanted to know, like, does he have an impact on it, or is it other factors that I need to be thinking about or worried about?
Yeah. You're talking about the government, though, right? You're asking why is the government doing whatever they feel like doing whenever they feel like doing it? That's your question. All right. So, but to your point, like we actually have on Clubhouse on Tuesday, we're having one of our lender colleagues go in and talk about the fee that is going to be assessed to people with good credit for. Here's the kicker, though. For, at least from, because there isn't a lot of information about it yet. There isn't even like rules and set ways to go about it yet, right? But from one of my lender colleagues, he mentioned that that's only for FHA loans.
Okay.
That's not all loan types, right?
Okay.
So then the next question is, who typically has FHA loans?
Oh, that's so messed up, man.
That should be the very next question versus anything, right? So this is a tax on. I'll just leave it at that, right? I'll keep it cool. I'll just leave it at that. So.
That's crazy.
I'll leave it at that, bro.
I'll add something for our listeners here, man. So for the house that me and my wife purchased, for guys that are listening, you can get some incentives if you are a Purple Heart recipient, and that's what I am. And also, I'm a disabled veteran, so I had some perks in regards to getting this house. So if you're a veteran and you're listening to this podcast, just know that there's some extra perks out there in regards to you either being a Purple Heart recipient or 100% service disabled veteran as well too.
Big facts, like so. And we have this conversation oftentimes. It's like, hey, bro, make sure you go call the tax assessors. No taxation, right? Highly important non-payment. No funding fee. That 3.5% shows up. So if your home is 500,000, that's like what 16,000 or 17,500 that will come back to you if you don't have a funding fee. To your point, but all that adds up. I know we're like typically excited to your point, but I commonly have the same conversation. I just like actually asking a person, hey, do you have a disability? I always say, hey, I'm asking for a reason.
Right.
Because we're working to get you as much money as possible. Because to your point, you're like interest rate. So if your interest rate is 3%. All right, bro, you back?
Back with you. Go ahead.
Okay, so if your interest rate is 3%, but your fee to like close the deal is crazy, just because you're not paying attention, it's more to a loan than just interest rates. So I just wanted to say that really quick, right? Like it's more to a loan than just paying attention to the interest rate.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's something that the realtor that we was working with, she did the same thing that you just asked, because we was trying to use our VA loan. We first was going to go for the jumbo loan, and then we just stuck with what we was going to go with. But it was very imperative that we utilize all of the benefits that we had to in regards to the taxes, and then there's another kick in for us too. So if you have a trust or a family trust or a private trust, all those things that are around there to protect your house. So we also tied in some of those things around getting the property too as well.
You have to, bro. You know you're hitting on. We won't go too far into trust and what it can do for your real estate, but we would say definitely look up, trust and how, because a major thing that I'm starting to experience more, and it's not color related, is, oh, I built up this massive real estate portfolio. I have 5 kids, and all 5 kids are now owners of all the property. Man, that is a cluster as it pertains to just who owns what, if it comes time to sell, if it's, can everyone get on the same page? Sue wants to keep it, Jim wants to sell. I had a client. It was, well, I'm working with him now, but his family, they had great property, man. They lost it for like, one of them for like $30,000, another one for like $15,000, an acre of land, bro, worth like 75,000. It was like, and it was all because A, they waited long, but then B, everyone could not get on the same page of paying the taxes that was like, back tax was like $5,000.
Wow.
And so they lost the properties, bro, for like, $5,000 is still, good money.
Mhm.
But the properties were, it was, you could have, put the 5 up, sold the properties and had hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Versus
Absolutely.
just totally losing the whole equation. And that's a thing that, it's kind of complicated to communicate to a person when they're viewing the world a certain way.
That's all around the mindset, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking to the point that you just mentioned, I was having this conversation over this weekend with another person. So a person pays off their house completely, and if they don't pay their taxes, they still could lose that house. Why is that? Why is that a concept? Or explain that concept so people can understand that.
All right, bro. I might ruffle a little bit of feathers. No one owns their home or their real estate in America. Long story short, bro. I want to cut straight to the chase, bro. You can pay it off as much as you like. America owns all the real estate in America, right? We borrow the real estate in America. And that's just pretty much how it goes. You don't pay your taxes, you're going down, buddy. That's it can be $1 million and you owe $1 in taxes and you don't pay. They're coming to get it.
They're coming to get it.
They're coming to get it, bro. It's nothing you can do outside of pay the people.
I already knew the answer, but I wanted you to tell everybody because
I just wanted to mention it, bro, because it's not a thing that's often thought about. It's like, I paid off my home. This is my home. No, this is their home if you don't pay them.
Right.
Right? They're gonna let you know. This just really, keep it a buck. America is built on, or the business a lot of time is built on the law of rents. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The law of rents dictates that you pay X depending on where you are and how it goes. And so everyone is working to get financial freedom, and they're like digital products and real estate, and ultimately they are looking to receive residual payments in the form of rents. And so to go back to your story, so how can a person pay their taxes on the property? Well, you are almost essentially loaned that property, right? And you better pay rent on it, and your house just so happens to sit on it that you've paid for maybe about 3 times over, just depending on who you are.
Yeah, man. Keep point.
I know that's kind of brutal. It's kind of brutal to say, but that is the game that we are in.
Yeah. So for someone that's a real estate professional, bro, how do you stay up to date with all the rules, regulations that's going on that's tied to your industry?
So I really wouldn't say that I have all, because it's changing literally in real time as we're speaking right now. There's something new going on. But if you do a thing every single day, then by default of like you doing the thing, there comes a time where it's like you're going to plateau. Mm-hmm. And when you plateau, that is just really communicating that there is something new to learn. There's other aspects. Everything to me, bro, really spans around how can you expand your perception. Mm-hmm. The greater you expand your perception, you start to see things in the same environment that you just had never seen, you had never noticed, right? So it's like we have a conversation. You're like, well, bro, did you know that you can do X? And I'm like, so that's been here the whole time? You like, yeah, literally, right? And so
Right.
that's the power of just perception and environment and talking with the right people. And so
That's
to
right.
answer your question, that's how we're staying ahead. We're, hey, this person may own, like one of my colleagues owns 30 million in real estate. His perception and how he views the world is totally different than, some of my colleagues who own one home, for example. They're looking at the same thing, but totally different, right? And that's how we stay up to speed.
So I'm gonna ask you, how do you differentiate yourself from other realtors that's in the industry to be so exceptional as you are?
Yeah, no, bro. So one of my things is I am this. I won't call anyone out, but realtors actually call me to help them solve their deals. Yeah, in real time. Like they literally, hey, bro, how much can I pay you really quick to, I am, bro. No, I am, I am so serious, bro. Like, so, I'm getting into the internet space of marketing and stuff like that. But in real time, they're like, hey, look, like I don't know what to do. I'm like, no worries, bro. Do X, Y, Z. Here's the Cash App or the PayPal. I'll talk to you later because I know it's gonna work. Talk to you later. And so I think just having a passion and a joy for it, brought about that space, right? So when I'm, typically interacting with my clientele and stuff like that, it's just like this, bro. We're having a good time, playing on the phone, making things work, even when it becomes, stress-filled situations, keeping it light, bro. We just keep it as light as possible. We have a lot of things to focus on. There are, more massive. I get it. This may be $500,000. This may be $1 million. This may be whatever the sum total is. But I assure you, no matter what the total is, you're only looking at it on a piece of paper. No one's carrying $1 million, to closing, right?
Right,
And so
right.
it's to put it back into the context of things, right? You're really just looking at, a white piece of paper, black letters, and you keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? So my thing that makes me different is, bro, I found a way to make it all easy.
I was
Simple.
gonna ask you, man. So
Yeah.
what has been like one of the biggest obstacles that you faced in the industry that you had to overcome?
In transparency. So in transparency, bro, one of the biggest things to face as a business owner at large is understanding that you have to pay Uncle Sam, but not in the aspect that don't ever pay your taxes or don't write things off. But it's complicated to actually operate via the banking system. If you're looking to get loans, homes, and all of that stuff, if you are making $1 million and you're writing off $1 million. That was a brutal lesson for myself, right? Coming from a W-2 background, getting into a business owner space. That would be one of the things I would say, no, you're going to pay the man. Or you're going to be out of the banking system. You can choose however you want to do. You can choose however you feel you want to do it. That is totally up to you. And I get a lot of phone calls like, yeah, bro, I wrote everything out. What can we do? Well, now you can do the bank statement loan where they're trying to charge you 8 to 9%. In a 3% environment, like they're trying to like really take you through it. Like that's just one of those things that if no one ever communicates to you, you're like, no, I want to keep all the money to myself, and that's just not quite how it works.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha.
In my experience, I don't know what I don't know.
That's all good. So, as a family man and a businessman, how do you balance your family relationship and your business relationship to make sure both of them are successful?
Yeah, man, great. So at first it was very complicated. I was very like business oriented for a long time, and that was due to being out of alignment. Now, once I got into alignment as to how I am as a person, what I actually do, then it's natural to be with family. It's natural to be with friends. It's natural to do business. It's natural I'm in alignment. And I know that's like, what does that even mean to a person? But you'll know when you're in alignment and when you're not, just depending on how in tune you are with yourself. So I know that's not as easy for a person, but if a person had to have like tangible things, then I would say I'm a big proponent of, write out what you need to do. Because one of the main things I did notice when I was having a hard time balancing is that I was keeping everything in my head. So now it's like if I know I have tasks, whatever, I mean, anything, if I think of something after speaking with you, I'll go ahead and get it out my brain. I'm trying to keep my brain as clear as possible so that I can be as present as possible. And the more present you are, it's just easy. The kids come, you talking, y'all chilling, the phone ring, you're like, okay, it just becomes a flow.
I've always valued just being 100% present. I remember when me and my wife was going through counseling, she would say that I was not present. Like I was there, but I was not present. And she had to bring that to my attention. And we had to work on that in regards to like establishing that, man. So I 100% agree with you, man. If you can, man, can you share with our audience the importance of networking and how you leverage your network?
Yeah. So in order to get to 11 million, that's network, bro. That's relationships. That's not doing it by itself. Like I wouldn't want to do that. That's not exciting. And so, and so to your point, like, find your tribe, find people who you actually would like to work with. And my main thing from a networking perspective is just because a person has the tools. Oh, bro, I'm gonna mention something out of this. Just because the people have the tools that you are seeking to have or want,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that that's the person who you should actually be networking with, or who. And that's not saying that they're not either, right? They can be, but that's very important. Like you want to network, you want to find the proper relationships because one person can actually change your entire life.
Right.
Easily. Like if we really look at it, if we're talking about money, you take away all the human beings on this earth and no money will move. It's not happening. No things will move, no cars will move, nothing will move. So it's actually the people that cause the things to move. So if you're a person who like, I don't need anybody, I want to see you go get your own bacon. And then I want to see you drive to your bread. And then I want to see you go pick your own orange too. I want to see you do all those things. And then if you can't do all those things, then you need other people. Let's go ahead and keep it a buck. Right?
That's what that girl that said to you that you was telling me about, man. Like all this thing in the earth and the universe, man, is just energy flowing, bro.
Yeah, bro. But the real point I want to make, and I don't want to go too high on it, and this is definitely going to ruffle feathers because we was talking about it the other day, and this is like spiritual, right? So I was talking with one of my older guys. He's like, yeah, I'm paying my tithes, right, to God, my 10%, so that God can expand or extend, my blessings and how much money I got. And I thought it was so interesting. I was like, well, what are you going to do with the money? Oh, I'm going to buy said thing, or I'm going to, pay said bill. Say, great. So I was like, it really started dawning on me. I was like, dang, people will say, oh, money is the root of all evil, right? That's what they'll say.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not really money to me no more. It's actually things, because people get the money to basically buy things, right? And so, and so much so that a person would give God his 10% as if the whole 100% went God's in the first place. With the thought process that they would be able to manipulate God into giving them more so that they can buy more things.
Like he don't already know that.
Like he don't already know that. Like I'm talking about, he's really talking to me. I'm like, it's you want things. Like you just want things. You want a new car, you want a new home. We are all, for the most part, a lot of times, if you're playing this game, you're not playing this game for money, because we can give you all the money, but if you had nothing to buy, you would hate it. We play the game for things. But the issue is when we play the game for things and then things make it above God in our life. That's when there becomes the issue. And it makes people now try to manipulate other people for things, and now try to manipulate God for things. And that's the thing that it's like, bro, you do know I can see you, right? Not you, but it's like
you're gonna lose that bargain.
It's like the person who's doing the thing, like, bro, you do know I can like see you, right? Like you're not tricking nobody, what I'm saying? The thing, and we're cool with giving you the thing, you know what I'm saying? You just have to do it differently. Like, you can't always show your teeth.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Bro, so how important is it for you with having mentorship or just having wise counsel around you?
Oh yeah, bro. That's a Bible principle, bro. You know, before you do anything, you seek counsel. And so at this stage of my life, I am getting to a state to where I'm like, oh, I really don't know anything.
Mm.
I don't know too much of anything, bro. Like I'm like, whatever we're doing, I'm working to get the people who are at the highest of the highest so that we can be as most efficient. And that takes like not wanting to be number one, not wanting to just be the man or the woman, and wanting to like actually work to have whatever said thing done actually accomplished.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we get ready to round out here, man, can you talk a little bit about you identifying like what your purpose is in life, and then the type of legacy that you would like to leave behind?
Bro, that's a great question. I actually had a high level of struggle with that after things got put placed in their proper place in my life.
Hmm.
Because at first it's like, yeah, we want to have a multi-million-dollar business. We want to travel the world. Things. I was like, oh wow, I'm really lost in things and didn't know it,
Hmm.
right? And so now, the prayer that I asked God, what I asked is, dear God, please show me what you placed me here to do, and to do it in a way that pleases you and in a way that serves the people who you would want me to serve in the right manner, right?
Hmm.
And so I find myself still in the real estate space, still just creating exchanges. And I was telling my mom the other day, like, hey, I would actually do this for free. So I know that that's a thing that, but that's a God prayer share. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of how that went, bro.
So, for our listeners, brother, if you can, man, we've heard your story. You came up with a childhood where you went through a couple of things. Then you was with your parents, and then serving in the military and all that stuff. You had to go through that discipline structure type of growing up, and then you got into real estate. Didn't pass the test until the fourth try, but
Yeah.
now, bro, you are uber successful, doing massive things, man. And then you're filled with so much knowledge and wisdom, brother. If you can, man, share with our audience some of the life lessons that you like to impart into their lives for me.
Yeah, so the main thing I would say, at this point, and you mentioned it early on, is really like just do you. Be in the space that you are in. And the other thing I would say is, if and it's not a struggle point for everybody, right? But just as a concept, work to approve of what you do more than other people approve of what you do. Like
Mm,
first, right? Like, like I'm number one. So it's like, okay, I'm number one. Does Michael not have to say I'm number one in order for it to really be true? Like, like where are you getting your approval from? Really matters as it pertains to doing success and doing different things, right? Because it's like we all have our levels of genius,
yeah,
and my level of genius could 100% not line up with what your life perspective is. And you
right,
may say, hey, this is just crazy, bro. Why would someone do that? And if I need you to approve of it, now I don't want to do my genius anymore. Does that make sense?
makes sense, man. One
Yeah,
hundred
yeah, yeah.
percent.
And so I would say that just that authentically, like being yourself, finding your truth and having the ability to communicate what you are really into is a really big thing for me. And to me, that is a success maker. No matter where you go, there you are. So it's no reason to really be fake. You think people can't see you, but they can see you. You think people can't really read your thoughts, but they can.
That's what's
Like
up.
they're knowing, a real person. You know a person who's faking it,
Right,
right? And you're like, man, I would love to vibe with them, but it's just not them,
right.
right? And so that would be my number one thing is just work to be as authentic as possible. We are all living on this big ball spinning in space. You might as well go ahead and be yourself, bro. Like, what else can you say? We are spinning in space, bro. Going where? I have no idea, my guy. We are just.
Oh man, I ain't never heard that one before. I like that one.
And you think about it though, like it's literally true, bro. Like we're just literally.
Hey man, before we get out of here, man, can you share any other advice you want to share? How people could work with you, how they could meet with you, how they could do business with you, how they could partner with you, whatever information you want to share, man. The floor is yours, bro.
Yeah, man. You know, as always, bro, very easy. I am easily found mainly on Instagram at Christopher.worth. And that is basically my handle, my first name, my last name. Shoot me a DM. You know, the phone number is in the link as well. Call me up, bro. I'm always by my phone. And, you know, for any deals that you may have or anything a person is thinking about, you know, I do a ton of consultations and just pretty much work through. I am known more so than anything for my ability to creatively think and get deals done where other people would not think of it. And so if you have a situation that may, you know, appears complicated, you're going through probate, you're about to go through foreclosure, there are ways to stop the foreclosure. We'll get into that later. You're about to go through bankruptcy, there are ways to postpone the bankruptcy. You have a home that you just bought, and if you sell it, you'll lose money. I got a way to get you money. So like I'm known for like how do we really make these things work? Because there's always a way to make it where you don't necessarily have to lose money or anything like that. And
Mhm.
so, you know, hit me up, bro. I'm here. This is what I do day in, day out, literally day in, day out.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. I'm your host, Michael Allison. I was joined here by my friend, Mr. Christopher Worth, bro. Thank you so much for coming on the platform. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being vulnerable. And pleasure has been mine, bro. This has been totally a mastermind for me, bro. Just learning from you
Oh, Rob.
in regards to this whole entire real estate industry, man.
No, good, bro. And let me tell you how you helped me really quick before you go. So you helped me also ask God to be my business partner in all my business dealings going forward. So massive blessings for you, bro. I pray that God continues to expand your territory and what you have going on and to, you know, bless your spirit and your heart, bro. So everything is smooth for you.
Thank you so much, man.
Yes,
For
sir.
myself, Michael Allison, my brother Christopher Worth. Until next time, peace.
Peace, my guy.
Can't complain at all. Couple dollars in my pocket, know it come and go. Been working on my body, getting healthier. Thank God for clarity.